say an election is fair, we are not saying that it is absolutely right or perfect. But when we say something is fair, I think people will be able to say it's commendable, even though it does not near perfection.
What does the Constitution actually say? And why is this judgment controversial, this issue of deregistration of political parties?
Yeah, thank you very much. When we are talking about politics, politics simply means the scrabble for power and resources. Who gets what and how. But when we are talking about free and fair election, there must be the electoral umpire saddled with the constitutional responsibility to organize a credible, free and fair election that will be generally what? Acceptable. Now, let's go back to the days when we started. There was what we call the Federal Electoral Commission, FEDECO. From FEDECO, we had what we call NEC, National Electoral Commission. That was headed by Professor Humphrey Nwosu. Yeah. Then again, that Professor Humphrey Nwosu, he was the one that conducted the 1993 June 12 election. From NEC, we now had what we call NECON, National Electoral Commission of Nigeria, under General Sani Abacha. Dagu Kujak was the NECON chairman then. That time, Abacha wanted to transmute himself from a military head of state to a civilian president. If you remember very well then, it was 5 parties that were registered then. From NECON, in 1999 and 1998, the military government of General Abdulsalami Abubakar decided to constitute an electoral umpire. And they decided to give it that name, INEC, Independent National Electoral Commission. So that it will look independent. So the first person that was given that responsibility was no other person than Justice Ephraim Akpata.
Yeah.
So he was there as the chairman from 1998 to the year 2000. Then from 2000 to 2005, we had one person called Dr. Abel Gobadia.
Yeah, Gobadia.
Yes. He conducted the 2003 general election. Then from 2005 to 2010, we had a professor called Professor Maurice Iwu. He was the one that conducted the 2007 general election that was being characterized by electoral flaws. You know, the president that actually won then, late Alhaji Umaru Musa Yar'Adua, did admit that the election was full of electoral flaws. Then that was why he now suggested that there should be what called electoral reform. That was what led to the Justice Lawal Uwais Electoral Reform Committee. They now came up. So when it was now in 2010 to 2015, we have what we call Professor Atahiru Jega. He was now and introduced what we call the card reader system. So that there can be what we call fairness in that election. When we say an election is fair, we are not saying that it is absolutely right or perfect. But when we say something is fair, I think people will be able to say it's commendable, even though it does not near perfection. So that is why in election, we won't say we want a perfect election. We will always say we want to call credible, free, and fair election.
Not credible, free, and good.
Not like that.
Only credible, free, and fair.
And fair, it must be fair.
It cannot be good?
No, it must be fair.
Can it be good?
It can be good.
Okay.
It can be good, but when we look at that terminology, credible, free, and fair.
So if it is fair, it is not free?
It must be free.
To be fair?
To be fair is free.
Okay.
So from 2015 to 2015 to 2025, we had a professor, Professor Mahmoud Yakub, the longest serving INEC chairman. He was there. So later in that year too, they appointed a woman, Hajia Amina Zakari. She was just there for some few months before they now appointed this man, the current INEC chairman, Professor Joash Amukpitan, S-A-N. He was just appointed. That was last year. So that is just a brief summary of the electoral chair that we have been having in Nigeria from FEDECO. But the truth there is this. Let's go back to the Electoral Act. What does it say? There's one thing that is very germane, that INEC has the constitutional responsibility to register any political party that meets the status quo. Now, what does it say? You must have not less than 24 state offices. There must be the board of trustees. 1. You must have your constitution that is binding on every member of the party. You must have what we call party register for us to know that you actually have members. And your party secretariat must be functional. You must have a national secretariat too, probably in Abuja, but not less than 24 state offices. You must have members. And when you look at the Electoral Act from 1999, it did stipulate again that registered political parties that fail to measure up, INEC have the constitutional responsibility to do what? To deregister them.
So what is measuring up?
Let me give you an example. When election is being conducted, it is assumed that parties must win certain number of local government, certain number of wards. We have seen registered political party who never win any political ward, just one. So it's embarrassing. But mind you, there is one thing you must also know when you look at these political parties that are being registered. Believe you me, most of them are being floated by what? The ruling party and also the main opposition party as a political strategy. Most of these registered political parties, some of them now have what we call presidential candidates. Some of them, even if they float a presidential candidate 24 hours to the election, the presidential candidate will now step down and say we now adopt a particular political party. 1. Sometimes those at the state level will now negotiate with the ruling party. So we have seen a lot of registered political parties in this country that, to me, the way they are being floated, they are not willing to conduct election. They are not willing to win election. They are only willing to negotiate. And to me, when you look at it on moral ground, it is a subtle electoral fraud. I use that word, subtle electoral fraud. Because when you register a political party, your desire should be to win election and to form government. Then why negotiate?
So what if some of these parties are being subdued by the giants?
There is no party in Nigeria that cannot win election.
Okay.
There is no political party that is registered in this country that cannot win election. But there are 2 criteria for winning election: popularity and acceptability. They look at the party program, your party manifesto. They look at the party constitution. There are ways we go about it. Look at the APC. APC is a fusion of 5 major political parties.
Well, we'll come down to party ideology, which is looking so elusive in the political parties that we have in Nigeria. Well, some will say, yes, parties have ideologies, but are they really practicable? Are they really operational? Well, many ordinary Nigerians feel politics is for the elite. If small parties die, does the average voter in Ibadan or Oshogbo or in Akure or in Ijebu-Ode, do they lose options, or do they gain more focused contests?
There is one thing you must understand. Every political party has an agenda, political agenda.
Political agenda?
Yes, to win election and to form government. That has been the utmost desire of every political party. But your strategy matters. But you cannot rule out what we call the conspiracy theory. Because I keep saying that when it comes to the issue of the game of politics, it's about the game of power. Politics is full of intrigues, gimmicks, permutation, alignment, realignment, scheming, and the conspiracy theory. So that is why I keep saying that when you see INEC saddled with that responsibility to deregister any political party. On whose ground? On what ground? INEC have the right to register any political party. INEC also have the right to deregister if they fail to measure up.
Well, we just got only 5 political parties here. The ADC, the AA, Action Alliance, Accord Party, the Zenith Labour Party, and also we have
Action People Party.
Action People's Party. Now, these are 5 parties. They are not the only parties that are not viable. We have parties that are on the ballot box, ballot paper, but have never won a councillorship seat. With due respect to the party and your state as a case study, let me mention this party, the Boot Party, the BP, Boot Party. It's also part of the parties that have not won, but they were not listed here. We have so many other parties like that who have also not met up with the so-called requirements as we discuss. However, they are also not on this list. Now, is this judgment fair across board? One. Secondly, the appellate court had already given a stay. Now, why is a lower court coming up with a judgment at this time?
Thank you very much, Vanzi. You cannot rule out the finger of conspiracy. Okay. You know, the APC under Asiwaju Ahmed Tinubu is being accused of trying to run a one-party state. That Nigeria is gradually drifting politically to a one-party state. And Nigeria cannot become another China. Because China runs a one-party state, though a communist. There's one thing that is very germane. We need a formidable ruling party in government. We also need a formidable and a credible opposition. An opposition that will not be destructive. An opposition that will be constructive. There is a difference between constructive argument and destructive argument. But on the other side, that in Nigeria today, most of the opposition party, they go by the way of what called destructive criticism rather than constructive criticism. Now, when you are talking about the issue of some political parties in Nigeria today that are not being listed among those to be deregistered, you cannot rule out the finger of conspiracy. But there is one thing you must understand. The National Forum for past legislators decided to file a suit concerning that requirement that this party measured up.
Okay. So
now, when you look at this forum, they don't have that constitutional power. It is INEC. Now, this forum have decided to turn themselves into what called interloper. It was not this forum that was supposed to take that matter to court in the first instance. I'm not a lawyer. It was INEC who was supposed to say, now 5 parties have been deregistered. You serve them notice.
That's as the umpire.
Yeah, don't be that. You serve them notice and you give them reason. When you now give them that, INEC have decided, not even going to court, INEC have decided to deregister this party based on what the Constitution says and the Electoral Act. Do you understand? They will not file it out. Then if you are now aggrieved, you now go to court. But look at how the conspiracy came about through the National Forum for past legislators. I see them as what we call aggrieved politicians. They are working for certain power blocks, probably in Aso Rock.
Well, that's some speculation there. We'll go on a very quick break, and when we come back, we'll continue this discussion. We're also discussing the deregistration of political parties in Nigeria, the implication to our democracy. Stick around, don't go away.
Live from the heart of the action. Welcome to the nerve center of Next Level Broadcasting.
This is the OB van, where the studio meets the street.
Equipped with cutting-edge cameras, crystal clear audio, real-time switching, and broadcast control, we don't just capture moments, we deliver the experience live.
Anywhere anywhere, anytime, from stadiums to red carpets, breaking news to buzzing festivals, weddings, birthdays, and all sorts of ceremonies. We bring the world to your screen in real time.
It's not just a van, it's a complete mobile production house, a command center, a broadcast beast.
This is more than a broadcast. This is the OB Van difference. Live, loud, limitless.
Ready to go live? Like never before. Book the OB Van today and take your event to the world. One powerful broadcast at a time.
To book, call 0705 506 1061 or 0916 101 1061. Email marketing@dominion.org.ng or visit our socials on Instagram @Dominion Broadcast.
Dominion Broadcast, your channel of choice.